Hello viewers, welcome to our Educational Junction, the podcast where we unpack issues and shaping our future. And today we dive into a debate that has transformed classrooms across this country. And some of the questions that we have been asking ourselves: was 844 really effective? And is CBE truly better? And what have these changes done? And are they really necessary? To help you break it down, I am joined by two distinguished guests, an 844 continuing student and a CBE student.
My name is Daryl Barasa, a Form 4 student in Kakamega High School.
My name is Vincent, a grade 10 student under the CBE at the school Kakamega High School.
Karibuni sana, welcome to the show. And so let's start with you, Baraza. Can you help us to define briefly what 844 means?
Well, according to the Ministry of Education, it clarifies that this is a system that began back in the year 1985.
And this system, it depicts and involves 8 years in primary, 4 years in high school, and eventually 4 years at the university level. And this system, it was formed on the basis of academic knowledge, examination, and literally certification. And one of its main reason why it was formed, it was to impact learners with technical skills, so as to prepare them for employment and even higher chances, speaking of the greener pastures and all that. Thank you.
And can you also explain to us some of the strength of the 844 system?
Well, some of the strengths that we cannot deny under this system, it is that it has created discipline, academic giants and professionals all over the country. Because we can speak of the doctors, the engineers, and obviously we cannot forget about the teachers who have actually played a tremendous role, and they have been instrumental in shaping and building our country. Mm-hmm.
And so to you, Vincent, what were some of the shortcomings?
Well, I do believe that the 844 curriculum has its own benefits. Reason being, it focuses on building a strong academic foundation. But I do also acknowledge the fact that the 844 curriculum is mostly exam-oriented. You find that majority of learners are focusing on memorizing content rather than understanding the original concept. This is what actually helps them in their real lives. You find that creativity, talent development, and even critical thinking are being sidelined in the 844 curriculum, whereby a learner who is in the 844 curriculum and is not book smart is labeled as seemingly weak. Yet such a learner can also be gifted in very many areas such as sports, music, and even art.
So you're saying that it focused most on grades than growth?
Exactly. Actually, it measured intelligence very narrowly. You find that education under the 844 curriculum became more of a race for good marks, a race for good grades, rather than preparing oneself for their future.
Now we have heard about the 844, so now let's shift to the CBE. Vincent, can you explain to us why you think that the CBE is different?
Well, I do believe that the CBE curriculum is actually not focusing on the academic performance, but focusing more on the competency. When I mean by competency, I simply mean the specific skills that learners get, not the knowledge. Now, the CBE curriculum is actually emphasizing on various skills. These skills may include collaboration, teamwork, creative thinking, digital literacy, which is very important in the modern world, and so many more. Now, you find that the CBE is also equipping learners with various values. These values may include responsibility, respect, unity, patriotism, and so many more. Now, finally, I do believe that the 844 curriculum is focusing more on examinations, whereby one exam is determining the future of a child. But in the CBE curriculum, the exams are continuous, or rather, the assessments, what we call the SBAs, or school-based assessments, whereby learners are assessed daily or assessed on a regular basis on what they do, mostly on practical terms.
So, Mr. Baraza, after hearing that, do you see the gaps that the CBE fills?
Well, we can admit the fact that sometimes the 844 system, it pressures learners. Because the exam culture anxiety. And the CBE system, it has found a way of navigating through it. That is by recognizing the diverse talents, that is, we cannot deny that. And it needs implementation and resources. Because the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics report as of 2025, it clarifies that only 25% of schools across the country have recorded to be fully equipped for the intake of the CBE learners. Now, this clearly illustrates that many schools lack the resources. What are we talking about when it comes to the resources? We have the laboratories, we have the ICT facilities or the ICT centers, we have the sports field. Because you cannot expect the resources that a C1 category school will be equal to that resource or availment or equipment at the C4 category. It is very, very different. Meaning that students placed in such institutions relatively have fewer options. And therefore, it just needs implementation and all shall be well.
So thank you very much, Mr. Baraza. And now turning back to you, Vincent. So what makes you believe that CBE is superior?
Well, I do believe that CBE is superior simply because the world is changing. As they say, the world is ever changing and never remains the same. Now, the 844 curriculum, success is simply passing exams. But in the CBE curriculum, success is innovating. Success is being creative. Success is communicating. Success is doing all those things that are within your practical skills. Now, I would like to say that a child in CBE who can lead, a child in the CBE curriculum who can help in music, a child in the CBE curriculum who can design an app, a child in the CBE curriculum who can even play sports and act accordingly, is valued as much as they are valued in their academic areas. What do I mean by this? I simply mean that these children who are able to apply their skills are better or are even valued more than those who score an A but do not apply their skills. I'm not saying that intellects are bad, but rather I'm saying that the utilization of skills is what means that a learner is able to work in the CBE curriculum.
I would like for you to give us a class comparison between the 844 system and the CBE system.
Well, gentlemen, would love to agree to this wonderful fact. The other day I came across a Shakespeare quote whereby he says that it is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. We're living in a modern world whereby everything is modernized. We're living in the 21st century. We're no longer in the 1980s whereby a degree guaranteed success. And go and do your research very well, and also based on Google Scholar and statistics, it clarifies that AI tools or AI companies, speak of Meta, Tesla, etc., they hire based on skills, not on degree. And employers today in Kenya, they'll ask you, can you do the job? They will not ask you how many or what is the level of your qualification or the certificate you're holding. Therefore, the 844, it instills us with discipline, but the CBE, it actually instills us with what we need, the skill. This reminds me of Martin Luther King, his speech back in Philadelphia, 1941. It clarifies that people do die, but skills never die. Therefore, that is what we need. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to agree with what Barasa has said. In the CBE curriculum, a classroom experience is not just about sitting for an exam and even taking notes about something like plants. Actually, in the CBE curriculum, what happens is the learners actually plant the seeds, they observe the growth of these seeds, they even record it and give presentations about it. This means that in the CBE curriculum, learners are expected to utilize their skills accordingly. Learners are not just given information, they are not force-fed information and required to act on it. They are required to use their skills and even give us active results.
Thank you very much for the points that you have given, and I have truly understood the 844 system and the CBE system. And now I would like each of you to advise Kenyans on why they should embrace the CBE system.
Well, I'd love to take this initiative and advise my fellow Kenyans. We're living in a modernized world, and research and statistics show that other countries have adopted it. Look at South Africa, look at Australia, look at the United States of America, look at Germany, look at China, Exactly. And it has proved to be effective. It has actually made tremendous impact, and it has actually been instrumental in shaping the lives of the younger generation. We must understand that the youth are our tomorrow. And if the youth are our tomorrow, Chinua Achebe puts it very well that it is not until the lions have their own historians, the history of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. Therefore, let us make the right decision in actually shaping our culture and shaping the way forward too.
Well, for me, I would like to agree that the CBE curriculum is not perfect. But I would like to also say it is the best thing we have for an all-rounded curriculum that includes all learners and even focuses on their skills, focuses on their knowledge, focuses on how they advance in practical applications. Now, to our listeners and viewers from across the country and the world at large, I would like to tell you that the CBE curriculum is the best curriculum you can have. Take a look at a first world country like South Africa. Not a year ago, it was just that the South African government was here in Kenya to even benchmark on the CBE curriculum. This just goes to show that even a first world country, the only first world country in this continent of Africa, is benefiting from the CBE curriculum. Therefore, I do believe that the CBE curriculum is not only just any other curriculum in this country, but the future to the development and growth of the world.
So viewers, as you have heard, education is not just about passing tests. It is about preparing for the future.